whether it is capitalism is the problem or whether it's neoliberalism / corruption, because to me it looks like capitalism has given us a lot of really great things, especially when you look at the way that the country was rebuilt in the wake of the Second World War, and the things like the economic miracle in East Germany once the wall came down. It seems to me like it's a pretty great system that we've allowed to become very, very corrupted.
Look. It's that Karl Marx in 1848 wrote, the capitalist system is the best thing humanity's ever invented. Except the problem is it doesn't liberate us. It accelerates economic growth. It unleashes technology. You could even say it eventually, after it had employed children in factories aged 8 and stunted their growth. Wow. Eventually, it did create a situation by the mid 20th century where some people in some countries could blossom and flourish in their cultural life.
Yeah, I mean, it gave us the two or more of the most free and diverse, accepting, just innovative countries in the world, in Britain and America.
Well, I wouldn't say they were that accepting, but the problem is
more so than quite a lot of the world.
The problem is, however, it also gave us World War I and World War II. Any attempt to say, Catholicism. Sorry, any attempt to say that capitalism.
I'm thinking more about the post-war period, really.
Okay, the post-war period. Post-war period was superb. I grew up in it. Rising real wages, rising meritocracy. The ability to move, my family tree goes 200 years that I've traced it on the English side, because there's a Lithuanian side. On the English side, it goes hat maker, miner, lorry driver, economics editor of the BBC. And that is not about me. That is about, because I bet there were other potential economic editors of the BBC somewhere in my family. That is not about me. That is about post-war Britain. And the problem is neoliberalism destroyed that. Neoliberalism reversed it, but it had to, because the capitalism in which I grew up, in which workers were strong and solidaristic and stuck together and were self-educated and had culture. They had brass bands, they had choirs, they had self-organized libraries. Even the kind of classic dahlia clubs and dog breeding clubs were kind of islands of civilization that they had created. Well, once you smash that, you get the world around you. You get the world we live in. But they had to do it because that was the source of their strength. Rising real wages meant shrinking real possibilities for profit, and no possibility for this huge profit machine that we have now. Speculative finance, speculative house building, all the apartment blocks along the River Thames built speculatively could not be built if Wandsworth and Lambeth councils were dedicated to building social housing, which they cannot do because of the neoliberal system that we're in. So I don't want to separate neoliberalism from capitalism. It is the logical end point of capitalism. I think it's over. I think the capitalism we're living in increasingly is an oligarchic one, where Trump, Bolsonaro, Duterte, Erdogan, they employ their sons and daughters. They'll try and create dynasties. The parliaments are eviscerated. Even Boris Johnson basically is playing that game. Carrie Johnson, as she's now called, is calling the shots, sacking this person and that person. Yeah. So my huge source of hope lies in the fact that we have the most educated generation ever. They have the technological means to communicate. You are. And technological means to communicate with each other, and the motive for radical change, which is climate change. We could turn fascism into a sideshow if we had progressive parties, I won't even say left, an alliance of liberalism and leftism that was prepared to radically address climate change. Because that, today when we're recording this, the British government's just decided to spend an extra 10 billion on social care. Good, right? But taking it from the poorest people, not good. We're going to need to spend something like 250 billion, to sort climate change. And in that, we can create the jobs that people need. We can create kind of town centres or the village centres or the kinds of, any young person who's been on a train on a Sunday night, squashed in there, and squashed sitting next to the toilet, that kind of world that you guys live in, that is just a world of horribleness. Just imagine what it could be with a 250 billion extra spending. But to get it, we're going to have to really take the power away from the people who've got the money right now. So I'm confident we can do that, but in the way of everything we want to do, whether it's empowering women, whether it's freeing black communities from criminalization, whether it's, whatever it is, and of course, decarbonizing the world, fascism stands in the way. You can't ignore it. It's standing between you and the progressive objective. And it is really interested in you, even if you are not interested in it. No matter who you are, it will stop you.
Thanks for making it all the way to the end of the podcast. Don't forget our sponsor, ExpressVPN, and my book, Brexit, the Establishment Civil War, can both be found in the links in the description below. And also, please like, share, and subscribe to this podcast. It's the best way to help us grow. Until next time, thanks for listening. Screw the hedge funds.
You can make as many rules as you want, but if there's no teeth behind them, what's the point?
Well, like Citadel is potentially just gone in a few months. It feels like financial institutions, that they are all laughing at us by buying GME. Screw the hedge funds. Like, I will lose my entire investment if it brings them down.
Why on earth, last May, could you buy the entire company for $200 million?
What's been happening on Reddit and in social media and in the marketplace has never been seen before.
I argue that nothing is off the table. There is nothing off the table when dealing with the volumes of money in something as big as the United States stock market.
The hedge funds have clearly underestimated a group of people raised on Friday night World of Warcraft raids.
Dark pools, they're another mechanism to manipulate and cheat. Mainstream journalists don't say these things for a number of reasons. One is their sources are the people that I'm talking about, and so they can't call somebody a crook.
Superstonk and the other communities that have emerged are a hive mind, the likes of which we have never seen before. It's madness and brilliance, insanity and genius all rolled into one. It's very possible that Citadel will be gone in a few months. And not just Citadel, but the entire financial system has the potential to come crashing down. These crooks continue to gamble recklessly with the world economy, and this could be the moment that they finally get their justice.